there's David Burns coming on, I think.
Oh, he is. Oh, good. I told him about it.
David Burns.
Yay.
All right. Hold on, everybody. We are getting started. Good morning, world. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are on this fast forward planet wrapped in so many layers of turbulence, it's hard to keep track. In the United States, the government uh, is being unraveled by a sort of extra governmental push by an autocratic minded new president. I'm doing a show on Monday on autocracies around the world and their history and how they sometimes, actually, most often, autocracies lead back toward democracy. They mostly don't stick like in Russia. Um, so one can hope, but it doesn't happen just through hoping. It happens through action. Now, but this is the Sunday Sustain What Sanity show, Sunday Sanity, and we're going to focus on music and conversation and the arts. I was doing these all through the pandemic. The last one I did was with well, David was there for sure. A year it was New Year's Day, like a year, 2 New Years ago. Karen, I can't remember if you came on for that one.
I think I might have been there in David's shop or something. Yeah, I think we did something from the
Yeah.
music store, possibly. Yeah.
So we're going to kind of hold off on cogitating about Trump and Musk mostly, and focus on music and just conversing because I don't see you guys enough from down east here in Maine, back in the Hudson Valley. I think you're getting a lot of snow, David and Karen. I don't know about where you are in northern Massachusetts.
We got another 6 inches on top of the 12 that's crusty and been here, and
Yeah.
I'm going back to Florida in a couple of weeks. I just
Ah,
got home. But I'm getting the roof on there and
that's
dealing with
good.
the septic, so I got work to do. But I'm
Yeah.
so glad David's here, and I'm thinking, David, are you with a very short time frame today?
Probably, but I wanted to say hi, and we
Hi.
got 2 inches.
Oh, not so bad. We're sort of in the Karen mode with the accumulating layers of snow.
Yeah.
Maine is actually having a winter for the first time since we moved up here three and a
Yeah.
half years ago. David, if you have limited time, I don't know if there's a song that comes to mind. It could be a cappella or if you have a guitar handy. Just in terms of, it doesn't have to be off the headlines, just because music can do different things and we need it for different purposes right now, not just to activate or the like.
Well, I'll tell you what. Uh, Give me about 30 seconds to grab a guitar,
Yeah,
and I'll play a song that for some reason came back to my head from many years ago.
that would be great.
I'll see
Maybe
you in a
Karen.
second.
Yeah, Karen, do you have something to share
Yeah.
in the meantime?
This song came to mind this morning because this is the Sunday sustain. It's the opposite of what the news is. So this one
Exactly.
everybody knows. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on us and crown our good with brother and sisterhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrims steep, beyond the years, our alabaster cities gleam, now dimmed by human tears. America, America, God mend our every flaw till our success be nobleness and liberty belong. You'll have to excuse my sickness. It's hard to sing.
No, there's a lot of crap going around. Yeah, and it's not a great time to be cutting budgets for the National Institutes of Health
No.
and
No.
muzzling the Centers for Disease Control. But one can hope the pendulum will swing back in some ways. David, I had muted you briefly. There was a little bit of echoing, but here you are.
Here I am.
Good morning again to you in Beacon, New York. I'll be down there around Earth Day, which is exciting. I'm playing at the Town Crier on Sunday, the Sunday of the 20th, which will be fun in the salon. How is life in Beacon?
Well, winter's back, but not as bad as you guys. We've had a bit of ice, a bit of snow, but life's pretty good here in Beacon.
Knock on wood. And yeah, Bob Dylan's been in the news lately because of the film, and it was neat that you had a bit of a role in helping some aspects of that film on.
Oh, that's not to be publicized, really. I just helped in a few small ways. They needed some instruments. They needed a little bit of advice.
That's good. Well, it all seemed to work out.
But I will say that Edward Norton really did a beautiful job, not just in the movie, but also beforehand. He apparently was a very big appreciator of Pete Seeger even before this movie, and had taken his kids to some of the riverfront festivals and so forth. So I think he was the right guy for the job. And beforehand, he actually showed up in Beacon to do research, and he was very serious about learning everything he could about Pete and getting it right. And I think he did.
It certainly was my impression, and it's just great. There were some really fun scenes that really captured Pete's personality and passions. So what musically came to mind for you this morning, David?
Well, this is strange, but I was listening to a record from the 1970s by Edgar Winter. And there's this one song called Fly Away. It only had 2 verses. I thought it should have 3, so I wrote a third one. Can you hear that guitar?
Yeah.
Let's see. If I tell you, will you promise not to tell? I've got a secret and I kept it well. You may not believe me, but I swear it's not a lie. I close my eyes and then I start to fly. Fly away, fly away. I close my eyes and I can fly away. Fly away, you can sing that. Fly away. I close my eyes and I can fly away. There's a magic land that I fly to when I'm down, where thoughts are pure and love is all around. And I can take you if you really want to try. Just close your eyes and think that you can fly. Fly away, fly away. Close your eyes and you can fly away. Fly away, fly away. Close your eyes and you can fly away. And when we come back, this whole world could be changed. So many pieces could be rearranged. With no hate, no hunger, and no soldiers gonna die. We'll make that magic world where we both fly. Fly away, fly away. Close your eyes and we can fly away. Fly away, fly away. Close our eyes and we can fly away.
That's great. I love that third verse, David.
That's just
Good
great.
job. Yeah.
You know, you think of Edgar Winter, that's not the kind of song you immediately think of. That's really cool.
I know. I first heard his really good, soul ballads and things like that. So I bought a ticket to see him, and then came all the rock and roll and Frankenstein and loud, distorted stuff that hurt my ears. And I was like, oh, a little disappointed here, because I really love some of those early things he wrote.
There are some comments coming in, and Claudia Gibson, I just emailed you the show link. It was in that earlier one, but it must have been buried. So
I know.
Claudia,
Mine got buried too. I know. Took me a while.
hopefully Patrick and Lori have the right link. Okay, so one thing I wanted to bring up here before I'll sing a tune in a minute. A friend of mine, a musical friend here in Maine, Andrew Trotter, he pointed me to something really cool. Let me see if I can get this on the screen. There is this is a 20-year-old annual February songwriting slam. It's called February Album Writing Month, FAWM, F-A-W-M. And it was built, the platform was built by this Carnegie Mellon University machine learning techie guy who's also a musician. This is the 20th year, and it's a constant stream. There are people all around the world. There are thousands, several thousand songwriters, and these are just the newest songs, in the last couple of days. And the goal is to write 14 songs in 28 days. I've only done 2 so far. I signed up, and I've only done 2. I'm not going to hit 14. But I wanted to play one that just blew me away. And I hope everyone goes to fawm.org and check it out as a listener or as a musician. It's not too late to sign up, and it's free to sign up. It's a donation-based thing. So the musician and the oh, hold on, Claudia doesn't have the right link. I will get it to her in a second, because maybe she's looking at the wrong email. Anyway,
Andy, I'll send it to her.
yeah, that would be great. And in the meantime, let me play this song by a guy in Melbourne, Australia, who I found as part of this project. And let me know what you think about it. It's not off the news. It's about complexity. Don't know why. So here we go.
Bird when it greets the dawn, the cry when a baby's born. They don't know why, they don't know why. The wag of a spaniel's tail, the sigh of a stranded whale. They don't know why, they don't know why. They don't know why. They don't know. But we'll get it all explained with our big old monkey brains. We must know why, we must know why. But I'm making tea for 2. I still talk to the plants for you. I don't know why, I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know. I put out the fire and watch the embers glow. nothing to hold to. How do I let go? I don't know. We say that we understand, it's all part of some greater plan. Or we could say, I don't know why. I dream of us hand in hand, our toes in the ocean sand. I don't know why, I don't know why. You and I don't know why. I know.
Beautiful.
Just, I mean, it blew my mind, especially the line, it's about the human need to explain things. And that line about our monkey brains, um, really trying to come up with answers, even when there are things that are truly unknowable. It just blew me out of the water. One of the
I
best
think
songs
one of the
I've
great
heard.
things about that song is that it sucks you in a way that makes you want to hear what he's going to refer to next. You don't
Right.
know that toes in the sand is coming, but you want to know what he's going to refer to next. So you're anticipating the next word, so you stay right with him.
Yeah, and the line about the sigh of a stranded whale, the whale and the dog wagging its tail, they don't know why. I mean, the stranded whale sigh just again blew me away. So this is via FAWM, FAWM.org. It's February Album Writing Month, which I signed up for. Again, you don't have to do 14 songs in 28 days, but you can become part of a community, a global community of song sharing. And I see Claudia Gibson is in here. Here's
Hey,
Claudia. It's
hey
been a long
there.
time.
Hey,
Yeah,
How are you?
good. I don't have my normal setup that I used to have, so I have no idea what I'm going to sound like.
You don't know why, just like in that song we just listened to.
Right. Sundays are I have a regular gig every Sunday, so
Yeah.
mostly. So yeah.
Yeah.
So but anyway, thank you for asking me back. It's great.
No, I'm glad you could be here. It's early in your time zone. So thanks for joining up.
It is early. Yeah. I it's been so tumultuous though that I thought I would, try to drop in.
That's great.
And I
And
probably should put on earphones, but they're broken right now, so I have to get a new
that's
pair.
okay. I'm not normally wearing them, but just wanted to be sure things worked this morning.
Yeah, no, I like wearing them. It sounds better, but so I'm just, one of those people who's jumping on, and who knows what the sound is going to be like. So
Okay. So
it's nice to see everyone, though.
yeah, and is it true you're moving back east, or is that like not
Not
definite?
soon, and not something I really want to talk about at the
Okay,
moment.
that's fine.
So yeah,
All right. Well, from down in Texas, a red state with a very green grid and lots of other things going on.
oh
Um,
yeah,
what?
yeah. We had. I was involved, and I went to the 50-51 demonstration that they had in Austin, and it turned into a big walk around downtown. And the Austin Police Department and the state troopers they were pretty good about it. They just made room and they gave us one whole half of the streets, and everyone kind of marched around. But it was a good turnout that day, and it was a good turnout all over the country. So it was nice seeing people show up and talk about things like the environment and how money's going to be spent or not spent or et cetera. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
it
what?
was good to see people having a say at least a little bit.
Absolutely. There will be more of that. I imagine we'll see. So
Yeah.
what is on your mind musically this morning?
I'm going to play a song that I wrote in 2018, but seems a little apt this morning. So I don't know how my balance of my guitar is, so I'll probably point it away a little bit. The things sound okay?
So far, so good. Yeah.
Okay. Do I sound like I'm swimming or something?
Nope. Nope.
no,
None of that.
Okay. Um, Yeah, I wrote the song Dreamers about the Dreamers program, and there's still people in it, although they stopped taking people in. But at the time when I wrote it, one of our graduates at the school I was working at had just made the national news by famously declaring that, she was the valedictorian. And in her valedictorian speech, she claimed, she listed all her accomplishments, 4 point whatever, 5 GPA, full scholarship to UT, all her things. And then she said, and I'm undocumented. Well, but she was in the Dreamers program. So it wasn't that she's undocumented, but she was legal. But of course it hit the news, and the Fox pundits made a big deal about it, and it all blew up. It kind of became a really big deal for her. And but anyway, I was searching for a song at the time to write. I had never really written a social conscience song, and to enter in the Woody Guthrie contest. And people say write what you know. So I know these kids. They were the best and the brightest, and still are. And so I wrote this song Dreamers, and I played it again just recently out, and it's hopefully I'll remember how to play it, because I don't play it very often.
Okay.
But anyway. She has walked through desert sands, huddled down inside a truck, clutching at her mama's hands, both praying for a little luck. Crawling underneath barbed wire, he was barely 3 years old. Daddy carried him for miles, not a peep, just like he was told. Dreamers, they had lived here all their lifetime, in this land they call home, all of their school days, and every friend's face are from this place. The only life they've known, growing up between two worlds, homework, friends, and football games, knowing just one traffic stop could leave her life forever changed. Go to college, find a job, serve your country, make your way. Choices that he cannot make when it's a crime just to remain. Dreamers, they have lived here all their lifetime. This country they call home, all of their school days, and every friend's face are from this place. The only life they've known, for into the land where they were born. Could it be the dreams they share are big enough for us all? For us all. Dreamers, they have lived here all their lifetime. This country is their home, all of their school days, and every friend's face are from this place, the only life they've known.
Oh, nice.
That's
Beautiful.
so beautiful. I remember you sang that on this show a few years ago. It's just a really beautiful, hopeful, and troubling song now because of what's going on. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of there's a lot of misinformation. I think is what always makes me mad, because there are people in this country that only get news from one source or two sources that is just not correct, and so there's a lot of misinformation about, well, people come here and they just bilk the system, and that's why they're coming here. And like every immigrant, they're coming here because they're pretty desperate. You don't do that kind of a trek unless you're desperate. And all of the the families that I worked with would live very very simply and worked really hard. And so I think the kind of characterizations we get from some of the the media and the people that are no names, but the people that have a vested interest in sort of portraying that, it's just incorrect. It's so incorrect, and it's so wrong, and it's so unfair. And yet, I lived in a town. Now I live in Austin, but when I lived in the Hill Country, I lived in a town where contractors would pull up to the Catholic Church, and there'd be a lot of guys standing there ready to work all day, and they would hire them. And I knew that these same wealthy contractors with their very fancy pickup trucks were supporting a completely different thing. So it's it's kind of what keeps our country running. And the immigrants have always been the people. I mean, my grandmother came over, and she worked at very low paying jobs, and everyone's relatives in this country did the same thing. So
can you imagine if there was a no work day or a no work week, and people realized all the essential things were being done by
oh
people?
yeah, and the sad part is that most of the people who are doing those things can't afford to do that. So like I've heard people saying, oh well, we should have a general strike, and it's like, well, if you're making very little money and you have to put, food on the table. And I remember one of my students' families, we were, my husband and I were getting rid of a day bed. And, I said to one of my students who had told me that, he sleeps in a blow-up mattress on the floor. I said, well, we have a day bed, and it pulls out. It's two beds, and you and your brother, you could have a couch in the living room because they didn't have one. All they had was some blow-up mattresses. And you could have beds to sleep on, because he was always saying his back was hurting. And when we dropped it off at their place, there was literally no furniture, not a stick of furniture in the house. And, we're just so used to a certain thing, so that people who were living very comfortably to say, well, these people are coming over here to bilk the system. My response is always like, well, do you want to switch places with them? I remember saying that to someone back in the Hudson Valley who was kind of going on and complaining. And I said, you really want to switch places because you think that these people have a lot of advantages. They don't.
I'm going to have to leave in a minute to cook breakfast for my family. But could I say something about what Claudia, you mentioned that people get their news from one source, and we know what we're talking about there.
Or two, yeah.
Someone made a suggestion, someone fairly well known in the protest world, and they named it truth bombs. But I don't know if I like that title, but it's an interesting idea. As an example, someone I know had a friend who was not documented, swept up recently. But that person had lived in the States for about 17 years. They had married an American woman. They had had 2 children in this country. They worked at a local popular restaurant as a chef. And that news source wouldn't cover that. And the people who watched that news source wouldn't ever feel anything about that necessarily. But the idea, the truth bomb idea, was to keep it local, that if someone or maybe 10 people or a dozen people wrote a letter to one of the reporters for the local newspaper that said, just want to let you know that so-and-so, who has 2 kids in this school system and who's been cooking the food you've been enjoying for 5 years at this popular restaurant, was just taken away.
Right.
And
Wow.
the local paper covered, well, even the people who watch that one news source still read their local paper.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And it's an interesting idea. I thought is a million
Yeah.
local things.
And you
Yeah.
know, as someone who used to write for a weekly local paper before it, back in the Hudson Valley, before it was taken over by Roger Ailes, that was an interesting experience. I wasn't there for that, but
I was.
but yeah, and when the town that I lived in the Hill Country, that similar situation did happen, and to their credit, the local paper did cover it, and there were a lot of people up in arms. But it's funny how there's just a cognitive dissonance of, you know, it is different. It's always different when you know somebody, because I grew up in New York, in Rockland County, in a pretty white racist town. I'm not going to name it because, you know, there's nice people there too. But I remember that you know, you'd hear these things coming out of your classmates' mouths, and they were just mirroring their parents. And I remember once my sister saying to me, because she was a few years older in high school, at the time there was one Black family in the town. And she said to them, well, what about, you know, so-and-so? She mentioned the guy's name. And they said, oh, well, he's different. We know him, you know, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that Anthony Bourdain always had that great idea of, because he'd go anywhere. He went to Appalachia. He would go to West Virginia. You sit down and have a meal with somebody, and you find out, you know, that people are human. Nobody's a devil, you know. And I have friends, you know, that unfortunately I can't really talk to about any of these things, but that are songwriters that are much more conservative and are on, you know, a different side politically than me. But that there's a couple of them that we agree to just not, you know, to respect each other and not descend into the kind of name calling and, you know, and I think it's really important. It's just very hard, you know, it's very hard because part of you and I'm feels like, you know, well, how can you not see this? And there are a couple organizations. I don't know if, I think it's national, but it's out here in Texas. And I've been wanting to go to a meeting where they do bring in people from different sides to come together and to learn how to effectively make a point and listen and, you know, find out what is in common, what is, you know, that maybe, did you know that, for example, well, Elon Musk has access to, you know, Medicare and Medicaid right now. Is that something that bothers you? Or to Veterans Affairs? Or that, you know, the farmers in the Midwest are going to be losing billions of dollars because they can't ship their grain overseas now because that program is gone. So things that kind of combat that. And yeah.
Yep.
And also on the other hand, you know, maybe that, you know, that some of us have been too quick to dismiss the concerns, real concerns of that people had. And, you know, if someone's saying, well, I can't afford anything, it's going up in price, you know, feeling like they're not heard. So they go ahead and vote for a candidate who's now doing this stuff, exactly what he promised he would do. So it's complex.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of shows on this. How do you cross those boundaries and have effective conversations? At Columbia University, there's a difficult conversations laboratory.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a science to it. There's a methodology to it. And Reggie Harris was on one of the shows with about that, and he's a master of it. But let's get back into some music. I have one of the songs I wrote for this FALM thing, this February Songwriting Blitz. It's still a work in progress, but I do have to try it because it's relevant to what we were just saying.
I'm
going
going
to listen to that. Then I have to go after your song. I have to go cook.
Same here because I have a gig. So after this, but I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, hold on a second. And I just want to do this. Okay, it's called Save Dreams for Sleeping. In other words, dreams are useful, but hopefully you can hear it okay. We all hold a dream somewhere deep in our minds, where everything's fair everyone's kind. Flowers all blooming, no smoke in the skies. No wars in the headlines, no tears in your eyes. But save dreams for sleeping, it's time to get real. Hard workers are suffering while billionaires steal. A young woman in trouble can't find caring hands. Housekeepers, house builders born elsewhere get bundled in vans. I'm not saying it's easy, all good things take time. Those trying to divide us are good at their crimes. But if we stop dreaming, dive into the storm, a more perfect union will start being born. Our country needs mending, but how to begin? With problems so tangled, no start and no end. Reach out to a stranger, get out of your pack. Find what you agree on and walk that one track. The trust that you build day by day, two by two, will carry us further than fighting will do. I'm not saying it's easy, all good things take time. Those trying to divide us are good at their crimes. But if we stop dreaming, dive into the storm, a more perfect union will start being born. That's it, and hopefully you can't hear the,
Oh, that's great.
hold on one second.
David's leaving. Darn it, I was hoping he'd have time for one more song.
No, that's okay. So that's a rough draft of a song. It's still in the works, but it kind of hits on some of those points.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the stuff you've been posting. You've been writing some good songs.
Well, it's, part of how you get through these things is using various creative forms to connect with people in different ways. So Claudia, if you got to get going, that's fine. It's good to have
I
you.
do. I did want to hear Karen if she's gonna.
I'll
Are you
do
gonna
one. Yeah, I'll do one little song, and
Get a little one, yeah.
I've got this. I'm sick, so I keep coughing, but I'm just gonna try it
Oh.
anyway. I'm gonna try it anyway.
Are
Yeah,
you
I
still in Vermont? Are you still up there?
I'm up in Western Mass on the Vermont border, but I was in Austin, got the flu there, and flew home or flew back to Florida early. I've had the flu the entire time, but anyway, enough of that. So this one, I've been kind of pulling out old songs and rewriting them and finishing them, and it's a very short song, so maybe that's perfect. High, oh, my voice is just high above us. There's a swallow flies back home to love. Even in the darkest night, she flies back home to love. Still my heart and warm my breath and fly back home to love. High above us there's a swallow flies back home to love. Even in the darkest night we fly back home to love. Still my heart and warm my breath and fly back home to love.
Oh, yay. That's
Thank
beautiful.
you. That was a very short version, but that's okay. That's about what I can manage right
Well,
now.
it's really nice to hear you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me. I have to run. I'm sorry, but
No, and I think I'm going to see you later in February. I'll be down in Austin.
that's right. You're coming down, and you're going to get the little whirlwind Austin experience.
Oh, that's
Yep.
great.
Should be
Yeah.
fun.
And
So it's-
it'll be definitely fun to catch up and bring your guitar. I just bought a mandolin. I'm excited about it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, now I got.
Claudia, are you still doing an online show regularly or not so much?
I no, I don't do it online anymore. I do it in person.
Oh, that's great though.
Because it's
At
at the
local?
venue. Yeah, it started out at a venue at the beginning of March in 2020, and then boom, we got shut down. And
Yeah.
then for a couple of years, it was online, and now it's back at that venue on the first Sunday of every month.
And what's the name of the venue?
Oh, it's a little tiny place called the New World Deli
Okay.
in
Great.
Austin,
Yeah.
and I do that on the first Sunday of every month, and then I've got like this week is just this whole month. The next month is pretty busy. I'm going out to Corpus Christi next weekend for a Corpus Christi Songwriters Festival, and then going to be going to another thing called the it's a two-city songwriters thing between Austin and Houston.
Huh.
One day in Austin,
Cool.
one day in Houston,
Oh, that's cool.
and then I get to come back in Austin and do the O4 Center, which is a lovely venue here. So yeah, it's going to be a busy month. And I've started studying classical guitar again, and I'm learning the mandolin. So
Excellent.
That's all
Great
great.
for the brain.
this is what happens when you leave your day job. Yes. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Oh,
Like
Well,
life
thank you
and day
guys,
job.
and I'll hopefully
see
I
you.
can next weekend I'll be in Corpus Christi, but I might be able to log on early and at least say hi.
Okay, I'm going to try to make this regular again, seeing as what's
Yeah.
going on. It feels like we need
Yeah.
to kind of.
Yeah,
conference
it'd be
for it.
great. That'd be great. Okay, thank
All
you.
right, be well.
Bye.
Take care. I did send the note around to a couple other people. I think Pierre Humbert is going to come on from Oxfordshire in England. And
Oh, awesome.
Shortly.
Yeah.
He hadn't, we haven't seen everybody hasn't seen each other for a long time.
Yeah.
If speaking of mandolins, this is my overgrown mandolin, my bouzouki.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And I did do this song, which is relevant, called "Wake Me Up, Martha," and it's about social media and all that stuff. Hopefully, this won't overload the microphone. It's kind of a chirpy instrument, so I'll try to mute it and see if it goes. Oh wait, there's Ray. Hold on, gonna just hold that thought. Ray, how are you? It has been
Ray.
a very long time.
Hey, Ray.
Can you hear us? Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hear you now. Yes, you
Hi,
hear me?
Ray. Yay.
Hi, good to
is
see you. Yes, well,
You too.
I hear a bit like a bit of an echo, but I think we're okay. So Ray, for anyone who doesn't know, Raymond Pierre Humbert is a longtime climate scientist who's also a musician, and he was actually on my first album, playing an accordion deep in the river, between the river and the rails. And we could talk forever about climate, but again, this show and Sundays is mostly about trying to keep ourselves sane and productive in other ways too.
And are you still in the UK, Ray? Are
yes,
you
Yeah,
still in
yeah.
the
I
UK?
just,
Yeah.
I'm right. This is you're seeing Oxford. You're seeing my study and at home in Oxford, right here. Yes,
You've
yeah.
been there for is it 10 years now?
It's going on 10 years. I'm going into my 10th year now. So.
Wow.
Actually, I do hear a little echo. Actually,
It's okay on the audience end, but I'm not sure.
oh, okay. Well, that's right. It's not enough of an echo to
Yeah, I
to
think
make a problem on my end. Yeah.
And Donna Nestler chimes in. She's in the Hudson Valley here. She says, "Yay, accordion!"
Yeah, and actually, this is a hi Donna. This is actually a melodeon.
What is the difference?
So an accordion is a chromatic instrument. You have the full chromatic scale, and it's also unisonoric. You get the same note pushing and pulling. And so melodian is diatonic. So on this is a GD. So I have a G row. It confuses me to be able to see myself playing because I have this mental picture. We just flipped around, but I'm going to have to close my eyes to play. But so I have a G row here, and then it's got a D row. And actually the push-pull pattern is pretty much the same as the reeds on a harmonica, but it's kind of a crazy instrument to play because to get all the effects you want, you usually don't just stay on one row and do push-pull. You usually play across the rows because on G and D they're a fifth apart, and so you can actually play a G on a push on one row or on a pull on the other row, and you need that because it's got these rather limited numbers of bass notes, and so like I have a D on both a push and a pull, but I have a G just on a push, and I have a B on a push, but an E on a pull. So you have to, if you want to actually have the E with a certain note on the treble side, you've got to pick the right row to play it on. And so there's a lot to keep track. The other interesting thing is with so few bass buttons, I only have one minor chord here. So pushing it in, I get the thirds. But if you pull out the stop there, it takes out the thirds, which means that the chords are agnostic with regard to whether they're major or minor, and your ear just magically fills it in. So I've had an itty bitty a melodian, which you've seen on the earlier iteration of this show for my Morris dancing stuff. But I just recently got this, and I'm still learning how to play it. And it's got a lot of reeds in it, so it uses more air, and it's got a big bellows, and I'm still getting my mind around the breath control on the thing. So if I actually mess up some things when I'm playing, be forgiving. I've only been doing this for a few months now, but it's a lot of fun. It's got it has three reeds sounding at the same time on the treble side, so it's got a really big sound to it. My other itty bitty one that the richness. Yeah, so
great. Let's hear it.
Oh, it is. It's just amazing. My chromatic box that I still use a lot. It only has two reeds, and they're smaller reeds because if you tried to put big reeds like this and three of them in a box in a full chromatic with all those buttons, it would just be enormous. It'd be like one of those giant polka accordions that take two people to carry around. So, but I can play you something. I could talk about this thing all day, but there's so, because of I forgot to mention, it's got this interesting thing. Since you do need a few accidentals, if you have a few accidentals that are not on D or G, you can play more songs if you have a few accidentals. And so this particular kind, which is just two rows, sticks four accidentals up here. So I've got a B flat and F and an E flat
Wow.
But so I've only had that on one octave. So you have to pick your right octave if you need those accidentals. But it's a crazy instrument, but the limitations of it are part of the fun of it, apart from the fact that in a compact instrument, you can get this really rich sound and you can carry it around, and it's got a lot of notes to it, enough to play all sorts of stuff. And there's interesting history behind this particular keyboard layout. You have actually a lot of different variations on where you put the buttons, and this particular layout is called the Anahata layout, after the Anahata chakra. And that's because the accordion, the melodianist who invented this layout used to be an electronics engineer, and he then became a devoted yoga instructor and guru, and developed and took on the name Anahata and developed this particular layout, which has some real advantages in terms of being able to play a scale that fits with fiddles. So.
Well, we'd love to hear hear it too.
Yeah, yes, an actual enough talking. Yeah, well, you can tell us. Yes, I'm good. This is one of our old favorite Swedish tunes, Polska efter Buskale nummer 32. Yeah.
Yay. That was great.
Yeah.
I was muted. I was just saying I love that sound. So rich.
Yeah.
I'd love to get you here.
Really,
Here in Blue Hill, Maine, there's a place called Bagaduce Music, and there's a bunch of fiddlers and traditional musicians there who are very focused on the Scandinavian stuff too. Boy, if you ever come this way, you'd have a lot of fun.
Oh yes, I have one of my colleagues and friends, Aaron Putnam, is up in Maine, and he's been he's been meaning to take me fly fishing up there, and so definitely. I'll see Aaron in October at Leeward Farm for the Comer climate meeting, but I'm definitely going to be coming up to see Aaron sometime. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I've gotten to know him a little bit. I visited him at the University of Maine with some of the other folks there. And David Ross in Beacon, New York. Good to see you here now again, too.
Hey.
Hey, David. I'm glad you
came. We've got our second snow of the season, and it's a heavy, wet one, but it still didn't prevent it from blowing into some pretty big drifts. So, got my exercise for the week, so that's good.
There you go. Speaking of new instruments, this is my newest instrument. It's made by Nick Apollonio, who's a masterful builder, luthier.
Is that a bouzouki?
It's a bouzouki.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I did write a song that's relevant. If David, I'm going to get to you in a second, but I wanted to see if we could fit it in here.
Happy to just relax.
It's called "Wake Me Up, Martha," and it's you'll hear. It's about social media and the alternatives to social media. And I'm going to try to play it kind of quietly so it doesn't overload the microphone. So we'll see. When I woke up this morning, seemed like any day. Down that coffee, fed the dog, munched my PBJ. But things got weird in a hurry as I scrolled on through the news. The deeper that I dug and read, the more I was confused. Pundits weren't yelling, even swear that some agreed. Armies weren't bombing, all I saw was harmony. Oceans weren't boiling, ripe fruit in every tree. There's just no way on planet Earth this is reality. Wake me up, Martha, get me out of this dream. Wake me up, Martha, this can't be what it seems. Wake me up, Martha, this must be fake news. Please wake me up, you know good times give me the blues. I need conflict with my caffeine to charge my battery. Without the tug of us and them, then who the hell are we? The naked ape within us evolved to fight or flee. Just no way on planet Earth this is reality. Wake me up, Martha, get me out of this dream. Wake me up, Martha, this can't be what it seems. Wake me up, Martha, this must be fake news. Please wake me up, you know good times give me the blues. When I woke next morning, still seemed like any day. Down that coffee, fed the dog, munched my PBJ. But I threw the phone in the corner as I walked out the front door. Figured maybe just this time I'd see what life is for. I checked in on a neighbor, she thanked me for my time. Debated with the barber, but we got along just fine. Recycled some old bottles, I even got a dime. I've got to say there's something here, this real life is worth trying. Don't wake me up, Martha, this is not some dream. Don't wake me up, Martha, this can be what it seems. Don't wake me up, Martha, this is not fake news. Don't wake me up, you know each day is what we choose. Don't wake me up, you know each day is what we choose. Don't wake me up, Martha, this is not some dream. Don't wake me up, Martha, life can be what it seems. Don't wake me up, Martha, this is not fake news. Don't wake me up, you know each day is what we choose. Don't wake me up, you know each day is what we choose. Don't wake me up, you know each day is what we choose.
That was great. And the sound mix was perfect.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's great.
That was terrific, Andy. Yeah, you played that the other day on one of your
Shows.
maybe on your Substack or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that song. Yeah, it's a good one.
Good. So, David Ross, how are you doing in these strange days?
Well, trying to buck up.
You're still teaching,
you've got to. It's too easy to say I'm not going to watch the news anymore. I'm not going to read the New York Times. I won't read the Washington Post because I hate Jeff Bezos. But if we don't stay engaged and informed, then they win by default. So right. I'm not quite sure. Besides being one of the people who make those thousands of phone calls a day to congressional offices, what I can really do, because it's pretty fucking dispiriting. But all we can do is make art or help others make art, and especially those people who've taken on the responsibility of being witnesses, because that's the ultimate responsibility that you trade, that you have to pay for the freedom to make art, is that you take on the responsibility as a witness, and you leave behind what you've witnessed. And I can't fight a tank. I can't fight Elon Musk and his army of adolescent hackers, but what can we do? I have no idea if anything I'm doing gets through. You hear that at all?
Yep, it's coming through.
Yeah, it's just fine.
So this is a song that's not fully finished, that I started working on literally a year ago, and it's another kind of heavy one, but it's one that I'm gonna have to read some of the lyrics off of the page here, but it's another song that I've taken from a poem by a poet that I think is recognized, a woman named Aurora Morales. I don't know if you know her work. She's a Puerto Rican Jewish feminist activist, also severely handicapped and living in Puerto Rico, but with an interesting support group. I kind of stumbled across a poem that she wrote called Red Sea. And, this is what I've done with it. We cannot cross until we carry each other. All of us refugees, all of us prophets. We cannot cross until we carry each other. No more taking turns on history's wheel, trying to collect old debts that no one can pay. The sea will not open that way. The sea will not open that way. This time that country is what we promised each other. Our rage pressed cheek to cheek, until tears flood the space in between, until there are no enemies left. 'Cause this time no one will be left to drown, and all of us must be chosen. This time it's all of us or none. This time it's all of us or none. We cannot cross till we carry each other. All of us refugees, all of us prophets. We cannot cross until we carry each other. No more taking turns on history's wheel, trying to collect old debts that no one can pay. The sea will not open that way. This time it's all of us or none. The sea will not open that way. This time it's all of us or none. This time it's all of us or none. This time it's all of us or none.
That was great, David. Thank you.
Yeah, that line about history's
Terrific.
wheel, being kind of on history's wheel, is really potent right now because
Yeah. No
Musk
more
has a hold
taking
of the
turns
wheel.
on history's wheel. That's a great
Absolutely.
line, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I've never met her. I started. I support her Substack now. Throw her a little money, but I think it's a terrific poem, and the problem with a lot of terrific poems is that they never get beyond the world of poetry lovers.
Right.
Especially a poem that's kind of timeless. I mean, we can think of this as a post October 7th, post destruction of Gaza, post Trump turning Gaza into a recreation space for world people.
Yeah.
Uh,
I know.
but it's it's really about the reality, that we can't forget during the course of flooding the zone with all of the problems with USAID and all the problems with the justice system and everything here, that there's still millions of people suffering in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Israel, in Syria, in all those areas that the geniuses of the European hegemony carved up in the beginning of the 20th century to create, more fertile commercial fishing grounds for themselves. And here we are in the 21st century, still stuck trying to clean up their fucking mess.
Yep. Let's get back to the music. And we'll be doing more.
Yeah.
I'm doing shows.
I have the song I was going to sing.
Yeah.
Is actually, I like to remember songwriters who've just died, and one of them is one who's probably not all that well known, although he did play with Dylan, and he did play with the Burrito Brothers briefly, and was a friend of Graham Parsons. His name was Barry Goldberg, and he just died this week. And he wrote a beautiful country song called.
Can you hold off? Can you
Oh
hold
yeah,
off
sure.
on that one?
Yeah, sure. I'll play it whenever you're ready.
I just want to hear from Ray again, from over in Oxford. Ray, do you have another tune you want to show off on that melodeon?
Where are you, Ray?
Oh, sure. I'm in Oxford, England, Oxford.
Oh, that's right.
Actually, I do
remember.
have another. Yeah, I have another tune, but I'm not in any rush. I can stay on for another, half hour, hour. So, but while he's on a roll, yes, go for that, and I'll come in after. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyhow, it's not a very long song. It's a kind of one of those country songs that the Burrito Brothers did with in the late '60s. It's called "Do You Know How It Feels?"
Okay.
Do you know how it feels to be lonesome when there's just no one left who really cares? Did you ever try to smile at some people and all they ever seem to do is stare? And you remember how it feels to be cold again when the happiness of love has gone away, and you never want to go out on the streets again, and you only seem to live from day to day. Do you know how it feels to be lonesome when there's just no one left who really cares? Did you ever try to smile at some people? Yes, and all they ever seem to do is stare. Yes, and all they ever seem to do is stare.
That's a nice one.
That's Graham Parsons and Barry Goldberg.
Wow. Yeah, a lot
That's
of people
great.
are passing on these days.
Yeah, well, getting to that age, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You check the obits to see that you're not in them, and then you go on with your day.
That's right. Well, no, the one other thing you do is what someone told me. Every conversation between people our age starts with what's called organ recital.
Organ
Well,
recital,
my knee,
for sure.
your knee replacement and your hip and your. Let's hear a little bit more of an accordion. I mean, a melodeon recital.
Sure.
And then we'll.
Yeah, sure thing. Yes. Yeah. So this is this is a tune that was running around in my head all week because of all the activity and some ICE raids and so forth. It's the Woody Guthrie song, Deportee. And I don't have the cognitive bandwidth to try to sing it at the same time I'm handling the melodeon, but I think they all know the words and sing along at home. So let me get on the right. I was just working this out this morning, and I think I've got my pushes and pulls right. So let's see how it goes. Okay.
So beautiful. Such a
Wow.
amazing song. Such an amazing song.
It is. And
It's nice to hear it on that instrument.
And
yeah.
it's well, I mean, these melodeons are very, very popular in Latin countries. Actually, there's a magnificent movie built around from Colombia, I think, built around one of these instruments called the Wind Journeys, which I highly recommend.
By the way,
actually, so Noel.
Yeah, there's a question from Noel Cross.
Yeah, sorry,
from Hudson Valley. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying that. In fact, there's a really interesting thing. So the Cajun diatonics, actually, it's very similar to the Cajun diatonics. Cajun diatonics are one row, usually in C. They're really, really big reeds, even bigger than this, and they tend to have a slightly different detuning of the reeds. But something I learned recently, that one of the things that makes Cajun diatonics sound so special is that they're not tuned on an equitempered scale like most modern instruments. They're actually being fully diatonic. They're tuned on a Pythagorean scale with a exact 3 to 2/5, the real Relio Trulio Cajun diatonics. And that's part of what's the sound of it. It's to say Pythagorean. I didn't mean Platonic. Pythagorean scale. And those perfect 3 to 2/5 just sound amazing. They're just magical compared to this funny 12th root of 2 stuff we have now.
It's all physics in the end.
Oh, it's all physics. In fact, I got into Pythagorean tuning when I was looking at the orbital resonances of the TRAPPIST-1 planetary system, and it's in exactly a small number integer ratios. But not only that, the resonances of the TRAPPIST-1 system are in Pythagorean harmonies. And in fact, I have a YouTube up on my channel where I tuned up a guitar. I broke many, many strings doing this, but I tuned up a guitar to play the Pythagorean resonances on the TRAPPIST-1 system. And they sound really good. And actually, one of my composer friends at Jesus College, I pitched this idea to him and got a commission from the London Philharmonic to build a whole symphonic piece around exoplanets, partly around this set of TRAPPIST-1 harmonies. But the interconnectedness of all of this is incredible.
I'll have to get you on the show with my astrobiologist friend, David Grinspoon, to talk about the music of the spheres.
Oh yes, I know David from way back. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. No, this is the true music of the spheres. Yeah.
Incredible. Not Lori, Karen, do you have another? I know you're fighting that cold, but do you have one more tune you want to
I do.
share?
I have this wonderful song, which I'm going to try to do. It's a Bob Franke song, and it's been on my mind lately. I learned it from Margie Rosenkrantz, if you know her from the 8th Step, if you remember her. Anyway, this is a song that I think a lot of people need to start to sing. So it's called In a Still Small Voice. In a still small voice in the middle of the night, Brother Martin heard the simple truth, and he followed its pleading, though it led to a crossroad, parting in the days of my youth. From the heart of my city came a single scream, and I heard it through all the white noise. And the papers told us that they'd kill the dream, but they never killed the still small voice. Oh, the lies come at you in a million ways. Some you hear and some you tell yourself. And they say that virtue is a pile of gold, and that weapons are a nation's wealth. But when kings stand naked in their ugly schemes, will the people of this world rejoice? Or will they sell their children down a bloody stream? Or will they listen to a still small voice? Now the one-eyed bandit in your living room will convince you that you have no time. It will swear to take you on your one free ride while it's looking for your last dime. But the light of heaven is a simple gift. You can see it when you make that choice. It will shine like riches in your inmost heart. It will speak in a still small voice. Oh, the skies will open when the trumpet sounds, and its echo will shake these halls. And these stones so silent as they ring us round, they will shatter when they hear that call. And our chains will clatter when they hit the ground, and the people make a joyful noise. But when my lover calls to call me home, it will be in a still small voice.
Wow, what a gorgeous song.
I have not heard that song. I haven't sung that song in a while, but it's been on my mind. That one-eyed bandit in your living room will
It's so
convince you.
great to hear you sing that too, and your voice is so. If this is you with a cold, then your voice is just getting better.
At least I didn't cough through the song.
Wow.
Are you at the farm? Are you farm?
Yes, I am. I'm up here with all this so much snow, but I'm going back to Florida in 2 weeks. So I am going to this time really relish the warm weather because I've seen the -5 almost every day here. It's very, very cold.
Yeah, you know, and here in Maine too, we're kind of like at that point of and of course it's a very long, slow slide to spring, at least in Maine.
You know, I shouldn't complain about 27 degrees, right?
Yeah.
No, we haven't had that yet for a while.
We'll be coming to warm up in the Hudson Valley in March and in April a couple of times. So
great.
What was that date in March that you're going to be around?
March is uncertain. We're going to be in the city, in New York City.
Okay.
I'm doing an event at New York University on James Lovelock, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
oh wow,
Jonathan. Oh my God, blanking on. I have the book right here. Jonathan Watts, who's the environment editor at the Guardian, has a book out on Jim Lovelock, and I'm going to.
Oh yes, that's right. I was aware of that. Yes, yeah.
So that's going to be exciting.
So is it a book launch thing?
Yeah, sort of a discussion of the book, and you know, Lovelock is such an interesting character. The meeting is this group at NYU that talks about normalizing, integrating the ethical need to consider all living things in our human affairs. So it's kind of the touchy-feely side of Lovelock, you know, the Gaia side. But then, you know, he's also a technologist and an inventor, and he crosses all the dimensions of the human experience. So it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us. Gaia is an interesting thing, but if you actually look at the history of life on Earth, it's more often that some life has gone haywire and almost destroyed everybody else. And so far, we've bounced back every time. And it's one of the big questions of astrobiology. Was that accidental? I mean, do we, or were we just lucky that we bounced back after the disasters that happened? Or is it, or is there some principle there that actually tends to say that you come back stronger after each catastrophe?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. By the way, do you have your own sense of that? Is there a feedback?
No, actually, it's something. I mean, I have an angle on it, but I don't have the answer. But but it relies on there being enough survivors to actually make use of the environmental opportunities in this more or less crashed world, the disaster recovery. But the chances of actually, but it's a fine line between. It appears to be a fine line between getting to almost everything wiped out and actually everything going extinct, and that we don't know how fine that line is. It's another very fine line.
Wait, there's a song title for you, Andy.
There is.
Fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's
probably, I was going to play something else, but no, you know, and that's actually on Monday, tomorrow. I am doing a show with some social scientists who study the history of autocracy. A paper out looking at autocracy dynamics from 1900 through 2023, and the majority end up not just crashing, but building stronger democratization afterwards. So that's a very fine line between Putin and you know, something that actually ends up self-correcting, like in Brazil right now with Bolsonaro. There's always a chance that Bolsonaroism will come back, but it looks like Brazilian democracy has actually been strengthened by going through that close call. So there's some resonance there. We'll be doing more shows on that.
Andy, there's something about the Hudson Valley that I wanted to tell you about. You might want to check this out when you come down next time to visit. Not far from here, about 50 miles from Beacon, is a place called Cairo, New York.
Oh yeah.
And in Cairo, New York, there is the fossilized remains of the earliest forest on the planet Earth from 350 million years ago.
That's pretty cool.
And it's in the back of a yard where they keep all the salt plows and salt trucks for the town of Cairo. And they've been chipping away at this to make more gravel, and they found this incredible, huge series of fossilized root remains from what is now considered the earliest forest on Earth, and it was before seeds evolved.
That's really cool. Okay, I'll check it out. I heard something about this a long time ago, but I should actually go there and write about it.
Exactly.
So I think we should kind of draw this toward a close. We have some snow plowing, snow shoveling to do, and all the rest of life. The real life. This is real life too, of course. We're making the most of connectivity here. You know, the internet is not all terrible. I thought I'd do this little song I wrote a few years ago called "Prayer and a Toast," which is about strategy for dealing with stresses. And by
I
the
love
way,
this song. I have to just interject.
and I'm playing this. My wonderful Aunt Martha, who was one of my portals to folk music, just passed away yesterday, aged 91. She had given me this guitar. It was a rack. It had been sitting in a closet for 50 years, and it took 2 luthiers to put it back together again. And this guitar is at least 115 years old. It was made before 1910.
Wow.
And now it's playing again because it got through that very fine line of just being detritus and being a guitar. And so this goes out to my Aunt Martha and her memory, and which lives on. Sorry. Fluky doesn't even begin to describe the way life feels these days. Crisis a minute has become the norm. Worries just won't go away. Bills are piled high, windows are barred. Tread on my tires worn thin. Got such an assortment of problems, I don't know where to begin. So I take my old dog for a 7-mile walk, stare at the clouds in the sky, sit on a rock on the top of a hill, and just simply wonder why. Why am I here? Where am I headed? Is there an end to these woes? Then the sun peeks out and a rainbow appears, and my dog licks me on my nose. That's when I realize things ain't half as bad as they seem to be. I got 2 good legs, it's a beautiful day, and at least my dog loves me. I've decided to take it all a day at a time, made myself a little oath. I'm gonna start each day with a prayer and end each day with a toast. Gonna start each day with a prayer and end each day with a toast. I get back to my house, pay one of my bills, write a new resume, call an old friend I hadn't seen for years. He said I'd made his day. He's behind on his rent, his roof has a leak, he's fighting with his wife. I said it sounds like you could use a little dose of my new approach to life. You see, I realize things ain't half as bad as they seem to be. I got 2 good legs, it's a beautiful day, and I know my dog loves me. I've decided to take it all a day at a time, made myself a little oath. I'm gonna start each day with a prayer and end each day with a toast.
Great,
I
Andy.
love that song,
Me
Andy.
too.
And it sounds great on that guitar.
Yeah,
Really
thank
good.
God,
Yeah. And your internet connection there, your connectivity is fantastic from there. You know,
good.
like really clear.
We were on Elon Musk's Starlink for the first 2 years up here, but we are hardwired, and even though we're in the woods and in a log cabin, and I really appreciate everyone coming together, and we'll try to do this more regularly through these coming months. Everyone needs a dose of sanity, and activity can come. You know, music is not just wallpaper; it's something that really can change things. It certainly
Every
changes
day.
spirit.
Every day.
And there are some.
Oh, it's what keeps me sane.
Same here.
There you go. And there are some songwriters. I did a post on my blog thing just yesterday where I included a link to way back in the 80s and 90s and aughts. There was this what was called the fast folk movement. A lot of songwriters were just doing songs every week, meeting at Jack Hardy's apartment in Greenwich Village. And there's Jesse Wells, who I think is like the epitome of
he's amazing.
fast folk. I stumbled on him when I was streaming the Farm Aid concert, and he's just churning out stuff, and he stands in a field, and he's got a substantial audience. He's built himself. He has 1 million followers on Instagram.
I just got a 50.
He's just great. And let's see, get through the ad here and play one little example of what he's up to.
He's fantastic. Yeah, I've become a fan.
I just can't get enough of
Morning, without any warning, and it felt like I would die. It wouldn't be this way in the golden age when the door frames all were white. The Black Hawk Flyer was a DEI hire, and the LA Fire was too. If it looks like a scapegoat, smells like a scapegoat, it's probably a bad excuse. I've been denied success, all the skills I do possess. Any other time would have made me a winner. We got to get into fixing, get the women back in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant, cooking dinner. We could destroy man before the Chinese can. We could program God real cheap. I got all this merit, but I just can't share it, 'cause NVIDIA won't hire me. Am I the victim of an unfair system? A better method used to be employed when mediocrity was subsidized by a procedure called the good old boys. Where's the nation and the generation that put a man on the moon? Was it immigrants and paper clips, or was it me and you?
It's great.
Yeah.
Just really cool, you know. And
I like that he's just totally independent of the industry. Also, just
Yeah.
just gets up there. Incredible writer. He puts out a couple of songs a week. It's amazing.
Yeah, and he's on a major tour. He's going to Europe, and I just think it shows you the potential is still there to really make a difference. One of his most popular songs is "War Isn't Murder," and it's about the language we use around warfare. You know, casualties. He says casualties aren't people who die, and it's about Gaza, and it's about Ukraine, and just the sort of sanitization of war. It's absolutely spectacular. So on that note, I'm going to say let's call it a day, call it a morning. This is the inaugural return of Sustain What Sunday Sanity, and hopefully we'll get it out there. This can be shared by anyone who's watching.
Thanks so much for doing it, Andy. Really, it's a necessary.
Yes, thanks for reviving this. Yep.
Yep.
It feels like the right time for some reason.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad I got my shoveling done early. Good luck with
really.
yours.
All right, take care, everybody, and be well. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
Okay.
By
Take care,
the way,
guys.
See you soon. Bye.
Ray, I found.
Oh, yeah.
I found that YouTube video of the resonance of the spheres and stuff. So maybe we should organize a show with David Grinspoon and Adam Frank too.
That would be fantastic. Yes, and do you know Adam Frank also? He's another
Yep. And Sarah
person,
Walker,
really great person in this area. Yep.
We'll do that. All right.
Yep.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.